Hello, everyone. Welcome to the second episode of Mission Pro Wrestling Unmatched. I'm Emily May, and I have some very special guests with me. I have George, PW Front Row, is back with us to talk through some matches. And then we have a very special guest. Trenda is here, who's a huge Mission Pro Wrestling. Hi, who's a huge Mission Pro Wrestling fan. And so, just introduce yourself to all of our Mission Pro fans.
Well, I'm Trenda, and I'm a Mission Pro fan. I've been watching Mission Pro and kind of following Mission Pro for probably want to say since early 2001. Probably really got into it and been a fan ever since. I went to a match in Buda, and it just was a great experience for me, and been a fan ever since. So yeah.
I love it. Well, welcome. I'm so happy that you're going to help us break down some of we're going in the Wayback Machine, and it is Thursday. So we're going to do a little Throwback Thursday every week for this show. We're going to have a little bit of fun. We're going to talk through one or two matches for each show. And today's show is Hell Hath No Fury. And this show is the official all-female show, September 18th, 2020. And it feels like such a long time ago, but so much has happened since then. So we're going to break this show up into 3 episodes. So we're not going to capture everything all at once. We're going to save little bits and pieces for the rest of our show. So before we dive in to these matches, I wanted to get Front Row your outlook on what you thought about overall this show when it first debuted on Title Match Network.
Yeah, it was pretty exciting. So, as we go through the card, and I think we mentioned this last week, you'll see each of the pay-per-views that we cover have some real standout, some breakout stars, not only for Mission Pro, but people who have gone on to do some pretty big things in the world of wrestling, and this card is no exception. But some of the stuff that I noticed as far as from a show perspective, it was exciting because, as Trenda mentioned, we were in Buda in 2021 for Locked and Loaded and at Pinball's Kingdom, and this is in that same area. It's a fun area. And I noticed because of the COVID protocols that, Mission Pro, keeping their fans in mind and keeping safety, in the forefront. The show still went off, and this is, I would think, one of the earlier shows because in 2020, shows had just started up again, right? So I have a feeling that the folks in the room were pretty excited to be there, and you can tell from the audience reaction.
Yeah, I mean, you could tell from the audience reaction, and I loved watching how. So this just made me thankful for how much we've grown, because you could see how there were certain lights set up, and just outside doing any type of show has its pros and cons. And so just watching this, I was taking it all in that we've come so far from pinballs. So I think we should dive into the matches. The 2 matches we will be covering, if you all remember, is the first one we're going to cover is Holidead versus Jazmin Allure, which this is a juicy one. And kind of going back is really fun. And then the second one that we were going to cover tonight is Killa Kate and Promise Braxton versus Jenna, Lynn, and Vert Vixen. So those 2 we're going to cover. So if you guys want to quickly go and watch this and watch that match, we're gonna cover it. So let's dive into the Holidead versus Jazmin Allure. Top tier Jazmin Allure, little baby top tier Jazmin Allure, and Holidead. So as you can see, this was when Holidead was also doing commentary, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But we had Brittany. Started with Mission Pro. I think we had Baby D doing ring announcing. And so what did you guys think about these entrances and just seeing them from a few years ago?
So, first of all, we have Holidead and Jazmin Allure, now two former Mission Pro champions, right?
Yeah.
And look, I'm a huge Typo Negative fan, so anytime Black Number One comes on, and Holiday just has that presence when she comes to the ring that is like a "don't mess with me," and mess around and find out, as her shirt would kind of say. But the entrances were a lot of fun. Trenda?
Yeah, definitely. The
Yeah.
entrances are great. I mean, Holiday, she's crawling on her knees. She's, looking at people viciously and has her tongue. The things that she does with her tongue faithfully with this confidence and almost evilness in her eyes that she's coming to the ring. Like she's coming down there to handle business. And you know that this is just who she is. So it was great.
For sure. I mean, I think I have a quick, I don't know if this is the right clip. Yeah, so we have Jazmin Allure here. She does that famous top tier, getting the crowd excited. And again, as you mentioned, Holidead coming out, crawling.
There's the tongue.
Making a statement, the tongue, and again, with the amazing makeup. And I feel like her gear is like, this is very original Holidead, right? This is like OG. But then but then she's transformed so much. And again, the ref kind of making sure Jazmin Allure doesn't have any extra weapons.
Yeah.
And Holidead and Jazmin I think they start in a quick lockup here. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a solid lockup right there. Holidead asserting dominance right from the beginning.
Oh, definitely. Right from the beginning. And here, Jazmin Allure just, is newly debuting on the wrestling scene, and Holidead is a veteran, and so it's that discussion, George, that we've had many times of veteran versus kind of newbie, where you have to bring up and teach the new wrestlers all the tricks, and part of that is getting in the ring with them.
Yeah, you can see definitely that Holidead, is the aggressor in the beginning, and then Jazmin has to start to try to use her quickness and her speed to even get any little offense in. But she was definitely there as a contender. She was definitely there to show off what she has and to show people that she is here to fight. So
yeah, I mean, and Holidead really just showed her strength. Her strength in this right away, like throughout the whole match. But Jazmin got in a few shots at Holidead.
Well, and you have to give credit to Jazmin because she started off with those arm drags, and she went after Holidead. She didn't shrink from the opportunity. She wasn't shy in the moment, and she brought the fight to her.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think that there was that moment where those arm drags are important against your opponent. You're trying to get them a little off balance. You're trying to, sway them a different direction and kind of overthrow your opponent in some ways. So, Jazmin's trying to get in there as much as she can.
And mostly, using her own weight and strength against her, because, that is something that Jazmin had to do because of Holidead being so much bigger than her, so those arm drags were definitely something she can use to, use her own weight against her. So.
For sure. I mean, I think I have a quick clip. I don't know if it's the arm drag, but there was this quick little.
Oh yeah, when she bent.
Yeah, when she bent, I was like, oh man.
Why would she even do that? Why are you like? Come on now. I mean, I know she's playing with you, but don't fall into it. Like,
yeah. I mean, she's just like really like because Holidead overpowers Jazmin in this in so many ways, just because she's so small and just like can really kind of manipulate her body in ways that I'm like, oh, Holidead's using that strength in different ways.
Yeah, and I think there was also, Holidead missed some opportunities to cover. She was slow to cover. I think she maybe underestimated Jazmin a little bit. There were times mid-match when she probably could have finished things up. But Jazmin saw those opportunities, and she was able to use her quickness to get some additional offense in anyway.
Yeah, she had a couple of great moves in there, especially maybe like I think it was the reversal bulldog that she did. That was the real turning point for her, and allowed her to get a lot more offense in. But of course, Holidead, being who she is, just came in with this lariat clothesline and just ended it. So
Here's some
Yeah.
here's some of the, I think this moment,
Those
like
knee strikes.
yeah, the
Yeah.
knee strikes. There was some heavy boot action happening.
This reversal into the
There you
Cazadora
go.
is great.
Oh
There you go. That's what I was talking about.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. That was definitely
That's that big moment where you're like, oof, you just know.
Yeah.
Let's see. Here was another big moment. Yeah, just like Jazmin's just getting thrown all over the place.
Yeah, the headbutt, the moment with the headbutt too.
Yeah,
You know
the
who's going to
headbutt.
win out in
Oh
that
wow. Yeah,
exchange.
they were both shook with that one.
Ooh, that one I had to stop because it made me so I just hurt just looking at it. And you could tell that it definitely disoriented Holidead. It was not an easy that one didn't necessarily go as both of them wanted, and it seemed like she was disoriented after that one.
Yeah, for a minute. You see, she had to kind of get her bearings after
Yeah,
that. Yeah.
for sure. So let's talk about, I mean, George, you mentioned it previously, but we've seen Holidead and Jazmin grow so much throughout Mission Pro Wrestling, and they also both have grown outside of Mission Pro Wrestling. I mean, we know Holidead and Jazmin are both part of WoW, and they are both former Mission Pro champions. And, you know, Jazmin has been seen, you know, on AEW, on WWE, NWA, and it's just incredible to watch. I know that this year is going to be even better for them. So I love like looking back at this. It's kind of like a little time capsule where we get to kind of see a moment in time for these two ladies.
Yeah, and something you mentioned earlier, you know, Holidead's gear has evolved so much, and in recent pay-per-views, we saw her with that really cool bodysuit. She's had a couple different versions of that, and it's just so badass. Like, it's so cool. But also, where you have those two former champions, Genocide has a target on her back now, and they're out there.
Well, and what's amazing is like these women have gone against each other again at Mission Pro Wrestling, and so to see what they've done in such a short amount of time and grown in the ring is incredible, and that's a testament to all the training and dedication that they both put in.
Agreed.
Yeah, I've got to see Jazmin a lot when I went to quite a few NWA shows. So you can tell that she's really grown. Like, she's so determined and motivated, and again, she uses her speed, and she really, you can just tell she's in there and she's giving everything she got. She has pure heart in the ring. So she's definitely growing, and I hope to just continue to see them both on TV. So.
Yeah, definitely on national television. I mean, what's amazing is, like, speaking of Jazmin's gear, I know we mentioned Holidead's gear, but Jazmin definitely still has that same look. She had a little bit more covering. She had a little bit like a half, kind of like a half sleeve. But she has kept the core of what is top tier, and it's just evolved, and she's added a little bit more bedazzle, and she's had red gear, green gear, blue, and she just does these vibrant colors, and she's kind of tightened her branding and tightened her look, but I feel like the core of it has always been there, as you can see in this match.
Definitely.
Yeah, and I want to give a shout out to the people in the chat. Of course, my wife's in the chat, Mrs. Front Row,
yes!
Neil, and that's Drill Sergeant Z and Mongrovian Mike, who had an exchange with Jazmin and had silver bells too. And I don't think you get the best of that exchange, but credit to him.
Yeah, we have Tony Justice, Manny is here. We have Matthew, some of our core Mission Pro fans here supporting our new Mission Pro Unmatched show. So thank you all. And remember, if you guys, this is just, we're going way back doing Throwback Thursdays, but if you want to, you know, go to February future, we have MPW Kickstart My Heart on February 11th. And you want to get those tickets, go to missionprowrestling.com. And you don't want to miss this show. It's going to be awesome. I know. I'm getting ready. I'm excited. And it's our special Valentine's Day show. So you got to show all.
I'm bringing my Valentine to Texas.
Oh, Yeah, my Valentine will be there. Any last I think I have one more clip if we want to chat about it, but let's see, did I show this one? I think this one, I think this is a big moment. Let's see. Boom! Holidead getting those strikes.
See, I think this was right after the headbutt. So you can see, even though she's trying,
right
she's
after.
still, still dizzy. She's still a little off.
Yeah, Jazmin's trying to get in those boots, but Holidead's like, I'm going to pick you up and throw you. Look at this.
She's trying those leg kicks, but,
I mean, it's Holidead, and Holidead does one boot.
Oh, it's over.
Oh, yeah, look at that.
That's all power right there.
That's all power. You have to have so much core strength there. So much core strength to get that, just that perfect line.
And it's control.
And it's so
power and control.
And then to drop her in her face like that for the pedigree at the end, it's like over. You knew it was over.
Yeah, you're like, I'm done. Montgomery and Mike is I don't know why there's a specific emoji, but I don't
Hey, Elder.
I guess that's an inside joke. All right. Well, this was one of the first matches of Hell Hath No Fury, and we're gonna skip ahead to another match on the show, and this is a tag team match, and we have Killa Kate and Promise Braxton versus Jenna, Lynn, and Vert Vixen, and again we have Brittany on commentary, and then Holidead has hopped onto commentary, which I love to listen to Holidead on commentary.
Oh,
she cracks me up.
Yes,
she's
great on commentary. Seriously,
so
funny. But let's talk about
just real quick. I wanted to mention in between the matches there was a segment where Thunder came out and she and Robin presented the new Mission Pro title. And I think that was the first time we had seen it on TV, right?
Yeah,
they announced.
Yeah, this is the first show. Yeah. And
they announced the tournament, which is Tournament Out of Hell. But what I thought was cool about this moment was Thunder was talking about, Lindsay Snow, and Lindsay came out and confronted her, and go back and watch that exchange because it's very serious. Like Thunder's always very fun when she's presenting stuff in the ring and she's representing the company. But when it's time, you can see the switch flip. And you can see Lindsay come out and go back and watch this part of the pay-per-view and pay close attention to it because it's really cool.
Yeah, and this is and that's going to be important because if you watch the whole show as a whole, it leads into a bigger match, which we'll talk about in the next few episodes. But it is spoilers, but it is a really important moment, and it also solidifies the tournament, and it solidifies a women's title. And that's all important, and it's on the road to Mission Pro and where we are now. Montgomery and Mike Holidead is gold on commentary. That is true. Yes, I think anyone out there needs to give Holidead a mic more often because she's awesome.
She can definitely carry the crowd too. Like you're so into what she's saying and how accurate she is about just everything that's going on in the match. She's great. She really is.
Yeah, it's good when wrestlers have history with the wrestlers that they're calling, because then it just adds so much more color commentary to the mix. Yeah, so a little spoiler alert. Anthony says, yes, that exchange was awesome between those two. Lindsay really lit that fire, and Thunder Rosa and her have a banger of a match. So yes, we will be covering that match as part of our discussion, but there was so much to cover. We couldn't cover it all. So let's get into this tag match. Tag matches are always like, there's so much to dive into. And I know pretty much Killa Kate really was the submission specialist kind of right off the bat and tried to really try to get a hold of everyone. But let's look at some clips to kind of dive into. I have some highlights here.
This crowd is behind them, though.
Yeah, the crowd was behind the last match, too.
So that was a little bit later. So I didn't mean to show that one yet, but but let's talk about, we have Promise Braxton and Killa Kate, I think, really dominated the beginning of this match. I really think they took control of the situation, especially Promise Braxton. It really seemed like she was spearheading the movement to really take control of this. George, what were your initial thoughts kind of these first few moments in the match?
Well, and you know, to speak to your earlier point, now we have Killa Kate and Vert Vixen in this match, both of them on WoW. So you already have even in these early matches on the show, you have, you know, folks who have gone on to do some pretty big high profile stuff, which I think is really cool. The whole thing starts out with kung fu fighting. Okay, so already I'm in a good mood.
You're like, this is awesome. I mean,
Yes.
got all the karate chops, kicks.
But I did like, Killa Kate's. She sort of started off slow and then went into some of the submission stuff. Very hard hitting, and the pace of the match I thought was really good. It started out and then built as it went along, which I thought was great.
Yeah, I mean, to your point, Vert Vixen has grown so much since this Mission Pro match. She's really becoming a star, and love how much she's improved. Yeah, so Vert Vixen is on WoW, like George said, and she's had a few matches already, so you guys can try to, I think they're on their YouTube channel, so you can go back and watch it. But what's funny and like what's so amazing and what I love watching about these women's journeys is that she gets to live her video game persona on WoW, and it's like full-fledged and it's totally like envisioned, and this was kind of like that little spark in the beginning a few years ago. So Trenda, you had a thought.
Yeah, I was actually going to talk about the match in itself, but as it started off, I kind of felt like Jenna Lynn, even though she started the match, was it with Promise Braxton, those two begin, but even though she was trying to doing her submission moves, and like what Fran said, it did kind of start off slow to me. Those two interacting together, I don't know if the pace for them just wasn't I don't know. It just seems like they weren't really clicking at first. It seemed more like when they tagged in Promise, when Promise tagged in Killa Kate and then Jenna Lynn together, those two had a better connection in the ring. And then after that, it really kind of flowed with everybody, because Vert Vixen, she's awesome. I mean, she came in there and did her thing as far as her kicks and everything. It seemed like everybody was kind of doing a little kung fu fighting for a moment, but
maybe there were some lessons happening we didn't know about beforehand.
Yeah,
I mean, I think that's a really good thought, that like, and then there was like all this stuff with the ref, like the ref wasn't seeing everything that was happening, and even Holidead was like, yeah, if the ref doesn't see it, it didn't happen. And it's like, oh man, refs, man, what's with, so it's George, it's gone way back, like our issues with refs.
It's every show. I mean,
it's every show. There's like something with referees.
Mission Pro needs to hire just more credible refs or something. I don't know, but
okay. All right.
but to Trenda's point, I did think that Promise and Killa Kate had they were very cohesive as a tag team, especially as the villains here, and sidetracking the ref and getting some of that additional offense in, I thought was really well done.
And I think that it was I think they mentioned that was actually their first time tagging together, whereas Jenna and Vert Vixen actually had tagged before as a team, but so it started off a little rocky, but at the end they pulled it out, and they looked great in the ring together too.
Yeah, and what Emily, you were talking about the submissions too. Early on, Promise had a good rear naked choke. This Sankaku G made, and it's the way that she was able to move with her opponent and stay with it, even though the escapes kept happening, were really, really, really creative, and I thought was really well done.
Well, as far as the two of Promise and Killa Kate, I think Promise really kind of dominated the match as far as for their team, as far as just getting all the offense in for the most part, and really just I think she pretty much dominated the match for the most part for her team.
Well, and Vert Vixen had that running knee to the back of the head. I think it's a critical hit, she calls it.
Ooh.
It's just brutal.
Yeah,
like
that was...
you don't see it coming. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's see if we have some. I don't know if I have a clip at that moment, but yeah, this was like more in the beginning, like middle. You see Promise trying to really
watch her transition right here. And she goes from one thing, she never loses contact.
Yeah, she never loses contact, and she's really trying to. Yeah, and she her facial expressions are really telling as well.
Yeah, she's learning from Holidead as well.
Yeah, taking some lessons.
Yes.
Ooh.
And one of the things that we always hear veterans say is, go for the cover whenever you have the opportunity. Don't showboat. And Promise is all business here.
Yeah, she's all business. And then I feel like Jenna Lynn is kind of the even though she's fast, I feel like she's smallest, and so she's trying to really be take out the I don't want to say the weakest link, but I feel like it's a strategic move here on Promise's side here. But yeah, so Killa Kate comes back, trying to help her partner out here.
Yeah, and then of course they go into the she goes into the Kirifuda. I guess it's like a modified Kirifuda clutch.
Yeah, it's like modified, yeah.
What was awesome though throughout the match, there was quite a few chops. I think they ended up calling it Chop Night because of that.
Chop Night. I mean, we are famous.
There was quite a few heavy-handed moments up in there. I was rubbing my chest.
All credit to Holidead because she coined the hashtag Chop Night.
Yeah, Chop Night. It's always Chop Night at Mission.
We got it trending one month. I remember we got it trending, or they, the fans as a whole got it trending one night.
It's always we haven't I feel like we need to bring some back. I think we need to bring it back. I miss some really big shop nights, so we need to make it happen.
You know who has really good chops is Jenna Kai. And just a side note, I want to give a shout out to Jenna Kai, who was just announced for Tokyo Joshi Pro.
Yes,
really congratulations!
She was just announced. That's a huge deal, and it's congratulations. I know it's been a dream of hers. So
I remember the first time I seen her was on Mission Pro as well. So she's come a long way.
Against Thunder.
Against Thunder, yes.
That was a make or break. Well, I don't want to jump too far ahead.
Okay, let's not. I was just about to start talking about it.
But this is what we do at night. We talk Mission Pro for hours.
I know. I love it. Now I feel like I'm just like in your conversation.
Sorry.
I'm just like joining the fun.
Don't mean to.
I need chips and dip. All right. So what other thoughts on this match did you guys have? Because there was a lot to work with. And
one thing I note. So we were going through Cage Match last night, looking at some of the highlights, and this was only Killa Kate's 23rd match. You would not know that based on the skill level in this match.
Wow. No, definitely. I didn't know that at all.
Yeah,
and I think that's emblematic of a lot of the talents that come through the doors of Mission Pro, even the younger people who, Mission Pro has an eye for talent, obviously. So then you fast forward and you see all these people doing big things. Like, it's going to be a running theme on this show, I know, but it's true, especially on this. Yeah. Well, Tony's got me down pat. I'm a wine and cigar guy. So not so much a chips and dip. But yeah, so Killa Kate, and I loved her in this match. I thought she had a really strong showing for someone who didn't have 300 matches under her belt.
Yeah, I mean, what I love to see is, like, I was watching this match and just seeing how, again, we've talked about how everyone's grown, but seeing this, and then I watch her on WoW weekly, or when she's on each week, it's just like it's night and day, and like she's completely transformed, and I feel like her personality is so much stronger now, and that's what's exciting for me to see, is like all that personality is so much more, is like flourishing even more.
Yep.
Growth. Yeah.
So Trenda, what are your last thoughts on this match? Any other big moments you want to call out?
Well, I mean, Jenna tapped.
That is true. I think I got it.
I mean, I thought it was going to be just a straight sleeper at first, honestly. It looked like she was just going to pass out.
Just pass out. Take a little nap on the apron.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes you get sleepy. So,
Yeah.
I mean, were you surprised by Jenna being like tapping? You know, because they were having all of the, you know, they kind of like divided and conquered, right? There was some out in the ring or outside of the ring, and then they had this moment in the ring, and I feel like they divided and conquered, and eventually.
I don't even think Vert really even knew what was going on at the time. Like she was a little lost, but no, I just honestly, I kind of thought that they were going to win. I really thought that Jenna and Vixen, you know, they had the connection. You know, they've wrestled together before. Killa Kate promised this was a new thing for them. They kind of started off rocky, you know. He kind of slapped her hard on that tag, like
like get in there.
Yeah, let's see what you got. Like, I don't know who was filling who out in the beginning, like if it was the tag team or the opponents. But yeah, so I mean, it was, overall, it was an awesome match, and then it exceeded my expectations of whom I thought was going to win and what they could do in the ring. So
so if you guys haven't watched it, you can go to Title Match Network, their YouTube channel or the network, and watch the full show. And we'll be covering Hell Hath No Fury for the next 2 weeks, so you can follow along. And so you all know Killa Kate and Promise Braxton won that match, so you will see that when you go back and watch it if you have not. But yeah, that's just 2 of our matches that we're going to be covering out of this show, and this is kind of the first all women show, the seed of Mission Pro, and so you get to see it all unfold from the beginning. So next, we were gonna kind of go into our kind of Mission Pro News segment and talk about women's wrestling and some of the big highlights of the week. And so, George, I'm going to pass it to you to kick us off on our topics.
Okay. Yeah. So usually we're talking about, you know, all the cool things that are happening across the industry with regards to women's wrestling. And, you know, one of the matches of the last week that was really caught my eye was from AEW, and it was Ruby Soho and Willow Nightingale against Ty Conti and Anna Jay. And this was a really cool tag match. It was a street fight. What I thought was really interesting, and I mentioned it earlier, was the respect for the veterans in the business, where you had Willow and Ruby come out, you know, honoring the Dudley Boys in the camo, the whole deal. And throughout the match, we saw them executing several moves, you know, made famous by the Dudley, including the Bubba Bomb that Willow did on Anna Jay. Little mistimed on the table, but Anna was okay, which is cool. But I thought that moment was really fun.
I mean, that spot was that was the spot people were talking about. Like, that's a spot you go to the hospital for.
Yeah.
And you, like, everyone was talking about it and very worried for her. I'm glad she was okay, but it definitely was, that was tough to watch.
Yeah. And I've never been, and I'm not a wrestler, so you're not going to hear me be super critical about stuff like that because I don't know. I'm not there. But yeah, you could definitely tell that it was a little bit off. I'm glad everybody's okay. Yeah. But I did like on social media that Bully Ray did give a shout out to the women and thank them for, you know, honoring the Dudley Boys and stuff. So I thought it was really nice to see to see all that come together. My only criticism of this match was that, you know, Ruby was busted open early in the match, and I'm not afraid of blood. Like, I understand there's a place for it in a fight and all this stuff, but I thought it was excessive, and I was a little concerned for her at one point. Trenda, what do you think of this?
Yeah, I think I had mentioned this as well, that she was busted open very early on, and then she had to continue the whole match, with the blood just dripping everywhere, and it was so much blood. It was just so much blood everywhere. It really was alarming thinking about having to, continue to do your moves, continue to work with everyone else, and try to still be coherent with the time frame of the match, and as much as she was bleeding, like it was a continuous bleed. It wasn't even like a gash that dries up and stop. Like it was blood. Just
I mean,
it was a little much.
Yeah, if you get blood or sweat or anything in your eyes, like you just can't see, like, and you just see lights and figures, and it can be really disorienting. I'm glad everyone hit their marks and everything was okay. Exactly. But the thing is, like, I feel like a lot of people are kind of divided over this topic of, like, was it too much blood, right? And I feel like we've seen matches like this on TV before. So I don't know. I'm okay with it as long as, like, it's wrestling. Things happen. People get hurt.
Oh, usually I'm okay with a good bloodbath. I
mean, I'm like a deathmatch girl. I'm like,
I am.
I'm gonna watch some hardcore stuff, you guys, with my like chips and dip and cigar.
I'm watching all that. I go to shows and everything. It's just that, again, I think because of how early it happened, and then for me, it was just continuous. It's just like it was just flowing. I was just like, okay, that can. Real, like you said, you can be disoriented and not be able to hit your moves, not be able to take care of your partner. I mean, it's a dance in there, right? So I think that was more so it than anything else for me.
Yeah, and blood can enhance a match. It can enhance the moment. Like we saw, one of the things that was so iconic. Neil. I love Neil. Neil's a GCW guy.
I want barbed wire, and I
go to GCW. Like,
I know you do. but think about that. Think about that moment with Becky Lynch at the top of the stairs. That moment wouldn't have been nearly as impactful without the blood. And that was all. I think that it felt legitimate. Like it felt like she got hit, like she got punched and broken open, and it was an iconic moment. And like the last 10 or 15 years, probably one of the most iconic moments, especially in women's wrestling. It was like, I'm a badass, I'm here, and I'm now the biggest star on the planet. And she was for like 18 months. So
yeah, and it's a statement. I mean, when something like that happens and you push through and you continue, it is a statement. Definitely. So, and I think it was definitely needed in this moment, because I feel like the women's division is trying to show, and this was one of those matches where you're like trying to like Willow's trying to find her place in the division, and there's so this was needed. I think it wouldn't have felt the same without it.
Yeah, and look, anytime Willow's on my screen, I'm super happy.
I love Willow.
Yes.
You could watch. Willow has been a part of Mission Pro. You can watch some of her matches. She also did a Women's History Month interview as well. So she's on our YouTube channel. So you can watch Willow on Mission Pro channels as well. So subscribe to our YouTube. Yes, Neil is a big Willow fan.
Yeah.
That is true. All right, George, do you have any other?
Yeah, the only other thing I wanted to mention, and I think Thunder talked about this on Busted Open the other day, is giving flowers to Mickie James. She's doing some of the best work of her storied career, her Hall of Fame career. She had this. She's working. The story right now is around the last rodeo, and if she lost this match against Jordan Grace, that was going to be it, and she won. And it's really exciting to see a veteran like her at the top of her game. She's everywhere. She was in the Royal Rumble last year with her own music and all that cool stuff. And
there's rumors that it might happen again too.
I would love it, because she has that title
again.
She
has the title again, and so lots of people are speculating, which we are going to do a little Royal Rumble prediction conversation next Thursday, so you guys don't want to miss that. But yeah, George, I didn't mean to interrupt your comment, but Mickie James really is kind of in this whole new era of her career where I feel like she is better than ever because she has this freedom and this agency and just this confidence that she has gone everywhere, can go anywhere, and it's really is showcased in the stories she's telling and in the ring. And she's, we talked about veterans, we talked about giving back, and I know that she teaches, and you learn so much from her when you're in the locker room with her. So I know she passes that on, and to have her win this again, I think is important for her, and I think it's going to be important for everyone else.
Yeah, and so Trenda and I and our group had the opportunity to interview and spend some time with Mickie the day after Empower.
Yeah.
And just she was so excited, not for herself, but for all of the other women who got to participate, and it was such a big event. Just to see that she was excited to give back, it was pretty cool.
Yeah, and she's definitely an inspiration because I grew up. Well, I gotta say, I grew up watching her. I grew up with her. Let's put it like she's not like that, but older.
Were you neighbors? You grew up together with her?
I wish. I wish. But just watching wrestling for so many years. I've been watching since I was a kid, and just watching her since the beginning. Seeing everything that she's accomplished and just looking at her now, like she looks fabulous. She looks fabulous in the ring. She's not missing a step. And she's just an inspiration because all the younger women can see that no matter what's going on, you can continue to go because, there is a shelf life, they say, for women that happens a lot faster than men. Like men can wrestle till Ricky Morton ages. I mean, and it's not a problem. But because for women, we have to do a lot more. There's expectations. They still want you to look a certain way. They still want you to, be able to present a certain way. And then after a certain age, without the extra makeup or a little something, you kind of get pushed to the side for the new beauty of the decade. But she is gorgeous. She is great in the ring, and she is at like you said, just at the top of her game right now.
Yeah,
so I'm so proud of her.
And Brian trying to need to get you in a death match. Oh my God! I keep
asking when. I keep asking, what?
Brian.
Against Brian or someone from Mission Pro?
Wait! I love death matches. I have to make this happen.
Oh boy.
Ooh, okay.
I feel like there's a sponsorship opportunity here.
There's a spot death match sponsored by Emily.
I know that wasn't a challenge, Brian.
I see something happening. Hold on. I see the graphic now. Tony said, I would compare Mickie James to Chris Jericho in the fact that she is still relevant in her long and successful career, just like Jericho.
Yep.
I think there's also she's having huge matches. Jericho is having huge matches, having huge moments. And I think there is trend of this double kind of standard where it's women have different, wrestling fans treat them differently, right? When you get a little bit older and, so I think we got to stop that and show, and Mickie James is showing that, is that you can do anything at any point in your career.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know who else is in their 40s? Asuka. Shayna Baszler. Good luck.
Yes, definitely.
Yes.
Definitely. Yes.
We're getting tables. Trying to get the tables.
I think we have to send Jeremiah to Home
Depot. Doors are better, guys. Doors are better.
Yeah. Then we're budget friendly.
More budget friendly. Yeah. Get those doors, guys. Or I can go find a construction site. That can happen too. That's not where I get doors.
It's just us talking here, right?
Yeah, it's just us talking.
Okay, we're good.
Oh my goodness. We got to go plan this death match. So thank you so much, Trenda and George from Front Row, for joining us. This was so much fun. we broke down 2 matches from Hell Hath No Fury, and we're going to break down 2 more next week, along with our Royal Rumble prediction. So you don't want to miss that. And so it's going to be so much fun. We have a lot of wrestling to talk about. Brian says, I think Jeremy's still at the brewery in Conroe. So
Jeremiah.
we love you, Jeremiah. Well, thank you all so much. Trenda, where can everyone follow you on social media? Because I know you do a bunch of other wrestling stuff as well.
Only on Twitter. My hashtag is @GreatTimesAhead, which is listed right there below me, spelled that way. So yeah, looking for all the great times ahead watching wrestling.
Yeah, awesome. George, where can everyone find you?
I'm PW Front Row across all the socials. You can catch our YouTube show on Saturdays at 7 p.m. Eastern on YouTube. That's at Nation's Corner on Twitter and at The Nation's Corner across all the other socials.
Amazing. Well, thank you for your topics of the week as well and for joining. And thank you all for watching Mission Pro Unmatched. We will be here every Thursday at 9 p.m. Central, unless otherwise announced. But you are stuck with us because we're going to break down every show, every big moment from the beginning for Mission Pro Wrestling. Remember, get your tickets at missionprowrestling.com for our next show on February 11th. You can also watch us on Title Match Network. Thank you all so much for following Mission Pro Wrestling and supporting us. We will see you next week.